Good morning to you. Mark Stout with HurricaneTrack.com here, talking to you about this major East Coast winter storm. Going to cover it in person. Going to try to make this pretty quick here just to kind of get you up to speed on things. And then I'm going to head out with my good friend and colleague Mike Farrow here from Wilmington, North Carolina. You see that off-season logo there. This is the Hurricane. Look, we even have it on the hoodie. You can see it right there. The HurricaneTrack off-season initiative in full swing here as we track this big-time, high-impact, major East Coast storm. Let's get on with it. I'll show you what's going on. Here is the visible satellite animation, courtesy of Tropical Tidbits. We have one low-pressure area up here, the upper-level energy coming through. That will spawn a surface low down here off the South Carolina coast, which will then ride up the coast, kind of get stuck up here in the waters off of New Jersey and Long Island, and then eventually, after being stuck for about 36 hours, it'll be able to make its way out into the Atlantic, kind of getting trapped by this very high latitude blocking way up here off the map in the vicinity of Greenland. And so it keeps these systems from just barreling across. Sometimes they get stuck, and that's what's going to happen with this. And the end result is going to be tremendous snows across a big area here. Some areas are going to see more than 2 feet, I do believe. Maybe even blizzard conditions. This is the classic big-time winter storm that I've been kind of anticipating and waiting for. Going to test some new things. Going to be covering it live. I'll talk about that more in just a minute. There's also weather to talk about for the West, and I'm going to cover that in tomorrow's weekly update, which I will do tomorrow, of course. But for now, this is the big focus right here, this winter storm. The Weather Channel, I think, has the name Orlena. And just for the record, I am an advocate for naming these really big, impactful winter storms. The UK does it with storms that come off of the Atlantic or the North Sea, and they name them. They're called Storm whatever, right? They have the name Storm, and then whatever name they choose, Storm David or Storm Renee or whatever the case may be. And I realize that the Weather Channel, as part of their marketing and branding, named these winter storms. It's not an official thing, but it does help, if you think about it, to kind of keep up with them instead of saying, oh, do you remember the January 31st, February 1st, February 2nd winter storm of 2021? Because this is going to span several days. It's just easier to think of it as Storm Orlena, or Winter Storm Orlena in this case. I'm just making the case for it. Throwing my hat into the ring, so to speak. Maybe one day the Weather Service will adopt that like they do over in the UK. But anyhow, there's that. It's going to be a major winter storm that we can all agree on, whatever you name it. So here's the watch and warning map, and you can get an idea of the area that's going to be impacted from the Mid-Atlantic, the Appalachians, all the way back to parts of the Midwest. We're talking tens of millions of people. And I know that gets used a lot. You see these big headlines, 30 million people going to be impacted by whatever storm. And a lot of it seems to get hyperbolic. You know, it's kind of like, it's just hype. But in this case, think about it. A lot of people live up in the Northeast. A lot of people in the Ohio Valley, the Appalachians. And the travel that this will impact from Charlotte, not going to have any rain or snow there, but Charlotte Douglas with the inclement weather today. Richmond, D.C., up through Newark, that airport, LaGuardia, JFK in the New York metro area, Boston's Logan Airport, and then others in between, right? Philadelphia. These are all major travel centers. Then you have I-95, the major north-south corridor, major impact event with a lot of snow, a lot of travel headaches. We're trying to move, as a country, millions of doses of vaccine around. And so this will hinder that to some degree. This will keep people from getting out and getting vaccinated over the next several days. I never thought in the history of my career, when I studied geography, weather, and climate back in college, that we would have any kind of a crossroads here or an intersection of virology, epidemiology, and pandemicology. It's not a word, but you get the idea. And weather never occurred to me. But here we are. We talked about it during the hurricane season last year, that it could have been a problem with evacuations and social distancing. Now, this has a different impact. This big-time winter storm, when you're thinking of tens of millions of people, the travel corridors, your major distributors and forces behind trying to get the vaccine out, this is going to set us back a little bit. How much? I don't know, but it's definitely going to be a little bit of a speed bump in the process. And a big reason behind that is because this system, as I was talking about, is going to kind of get stuck right over here for a couple of days and not move very quickly. And so it's going to be a prolonged event, not in and out tomorrow. It's going to still be nasty even through Tuesday. So just a couple of things to point out. This is weather.gov. If you haven't heard me talk about this before, use it, okay? Seriously. It's free. You pay for it with your taxes, so use it. You click on the map anywhere, maybe up here in northern New Jersey. You click, you zoom in, you can see all the different colors. What do they mean? Winter storm warning for your coastal waters, coastal flood warning, and you can even click on those, and you can read it. And it's from your local weather service. This one's out of the Weather Service, Mount Holly, New Jersey. All right? And you can actually click on the map. You say, hey, I live in Morristown. I want to know what's going on. Well, you have the red areas through here. I talk about this a lot during hurricane season with hurricane local statements. Same thing is true with big time, severe weather, winter weather, whatever the case may be. This is your local guide from the Weather Service. This is very, very helpful. You can read the forecast, check it out. You can read the forecast discussion, which is right here. And it talks to you in very detailed verbiage about what they expect to happen. Very similar to the forecast discussion from the National Hurricane Center during hurricanes. This is written by somebody that works there at the Weather Service Mount Holly. And at the bottom, it'll tell you their initials, way at the bottom. These are all the different people that worked on it. All right, so these are not bots or automated write-ups. These are done by people who actually live there. Okay, so take advantage of this. Read all about it. We're talking about a huge storm covering a large area, large geographic area. And yes, if we look down at the legend, we have everything from the coastal flood watches, the coastal flood warnings, flood statements. This blizzard warning is for Alaska, I believe. We haven't seen any blizzard watches and warnings for the East Coast yet, but I think that might change. We shall see. And any avalanche warnings are going to be out west. But you get the idea that there's a lot going on. There's the avalanche for Washington, avalanche warnings. But use weather.gov. It's very helpful. And you can click on it. You can put your zip code in here. Wherever you live, type your city name, whatever. Maybe your mom, dad, another relative, aunt, uncle, cousin, whoever, your former high school best friend lives in this area and you want to tell them what's up. Maybe they're not into the weather like you are. This is a great resource, and you can sound like an expert. All right? All right, so like I said, I'm going to be leaving here in just a little bit. I'm going to try to wrap this part up and upload it and get out of here. So what am I going to do? I'm going to be streaming live starting today on our public YouTube feed. We always make that public. All of this is supported, of course, by our crowdfunding group via Patreon. So our patrons, our supporters, will have access to all of this stuff that you see here, the enhanced tracking map, and where we have these live video feeds. We've already got some set up. This is up, like it says, near Leesburg in Virginia. And if it'll go full screen for me. That's okay. Well, maybe it won't do full. Yeah, there we go. Gremlins, man. So this is up near Leesburg. This is one of our supporters. They've already gotten some snow there. And so this is part of what we do. Okay, you know this from hurricanes. We set up these cameras. These are some permanent cameras that we have set up. This one's up in Baiting Hollow out on Long Island Sound in New York. This scene will change. It'll get snowy and windy. The sound will look like the Atlantic Ocean by this time tomorrow. Brady up in Grafton, one of our supporters up there, camera out in his area. And I'm going to add several more myself. Up here in southern New York, northern New Jersey. This is where I think there's going to be a huge area, and I have to pick. So that's going to be my general area near Middletown, New York. And if I got that right, I think I did. Yeah, that's just trying to look in there. Leaving it just a little bit, setting up these cameras. But the biggest thing with this time around is that we're going to test out these new, what we call connected Kestrel systems, whereby the cameras will be accompanied by live weather data. We've got these Kestrel drop sensors that were crowdfunded to us by our supporters, And now we have figured out a way to transmit that data through the magic of the internet to our server here. And so when I set these cameras up here in the northern parts of New Jersey and New York, roughly through this area in here somewhere, those will all have data: temperature, humidity, dew point, and air pressure. I'm not taking any anemometers for wind speed this time. I'm not going to go down to the coast. I'm aiming to capture the big snow event up here. When that big band pivots around on the frontogenesis part of it, you'll see it on radar. You'll see people talking about it. It's going to be quite impressive, and I want to be up there for that. So that'll be on this interactive tracking map. If you're one of our current patrons, log in, check it out. Maybe it's been a couple months, since we got back from Tropical Storm Ada the week before Thanksgiving. We hadn't been out since then, so this will be our first opportunity to do so. And the link to Patreon, of course, is on the description of this video, in the description, I should say, patreon.com/HurricaneTrack. But we always put a public feed out there. I want to make sure people are as aware of what's going on as they can be. And so the YouTube feed will be available later this afternoon, and you can tune into that, of course, and watch and comment and see what's going on with this major winter storm. If you're up there, you're in the path of this, and chances are, because it's such a big event and impacting so many people, that a good deal of you watching are in the area. Tag me on Twitter, @HurricaneTrack. That's my Twitter. Tag me and say, hey, look, here's a picture or some video that I shot. Just please do it widescreen. Hold your phone like that when you take your video, not like that. Not for cinematic purposes anyway. It doesn't look as good. Wide. But do tag me. I'd love to be able to retweet it and share it. What you've got going on in your area. Just tell me where you are when you do it. All right? Your location, and I'll be glad to retweet that. That'll be neat to see what your impacts are from this major East Coast winter storm that we're going to start covering here in just a little bit. All right. Well, that is it from me. I'm going to wrap things up, finish up packing the Jeep Wrangler that I have rented for this, and I'll pick up Mike Farrow within the hour or so, and we'll head out and provide you some live commentary as to what's going on, updates along the way, and coverage, to the best of our ability. All right. Thanks for watching. I am Mark Sudduth. I'm going to get out of here. I'll see you from I-95 and points north.